Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, president and founder of Agiledad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Standup. So without any further ado, let's get started. It's Friday. Congratulations. We made it through another week. Another week of craziness, another week of change, another week of things getting moved in different directions. I hope that your week was just as amazing as mine. Mine's been an incredible week. And today I want to talk to you about, of course, an agile, not so agile topic. And if I recall correctly, this happened at a conference, I want to say it was about 6 or 7 years ago, where I was in attendance, and it was a speaker that I really admired. And I remember when we walked into the room, she had like a little small, like a packet on every chair that when you went in. And inside of the packet, it had a couple of things. And once everybody got settled, she asked everyone to please take out the packet that she left. And inside of the packet, there was a balloon. She asked everyone to please inflate the balloon to a pretty big size, to a decent size. So we had a couple of hundred people in the room, I'd say between 200 and 300 people, and everyone inflated their balloons. She then said, using the marker, write your name on the side of the balloon. Nothing but your first name, just write your name. She says you could do first and last, I remember. So we did first and last name on a balloon. She says, and it had a place. It had like a little, I'll never forget it, it had a rectangle, right? She says, right there, first and last name. She says, okay. She says, someone's going to come collect all your balloons. She says, we'll get back to those in a minute. And she talked to us about a couple of different topics regarding Agile and just about the way things were progressing in the Agile community. And in a moment, she says, we were all going to get up and move over to the next room. And when we went to the next room, right, we were on our way walking over to the next room through a corner. It was in a large conference hall. And we discovered that all the balloons that we had filled out our names on were placed into a room, an adjoining room. Now, the adjoining room, it could not even fit all 200 people pretty much. It was a small room. It was tight, right? And there was no way all 200 of us would fit in there. But what she said is she says, I have a little test for you. She says, I'm going to give all of you, not individually, but all of you, 2 minutes to enter the room, find your balloon, and return to your seat. Ready, go. And when she said go, people were pushing and shoving and searching frantically and running into each other and grabbing balloons, looking at it, throwing them aside, trying to find their balloon. It was a mess. It was just a total absolute mess, and it was bad. It felt like you're at a really death metal type concert where everyone was in a pit. People were just pushing and shoving and trying to get to their balloon. And at the end of 2 minutes, the truth is, I believe maybe one young lady found her balloon. I mean, out of all those people, no one could find her balloon. It was just very difficult to find your balloon. And she looked a little sad. And then she says, I have a different challenge. She says, okay, she says, here's what I want you to do now. She says, I want to do the same thing. She goes, but this time, I want each person to go in and select a balloon. She says, then I want you to find that person and give them their balloon. And it was interesting because there was no signals on the balloon color-wise or anything about who was who or where they were sitting or what was happening. But what was interesting is the only indication that we had or that we figured out was that when they distributed the balloons, they distributed them out of bags, right? So on the left side of the audience were primarily one color. The center was primarily one color. The right was primarily one color. So you could divide it 3 ways that way. We also quickly figured out that some of the people had obvious male names and obvious female names. So it made it easy for you to look and say, I'm looking for a guy or I'm looking for a young lady, right? It made it easy for you to figure that out. So you knew if it was a lady or a gentleman. You knew if it was, about where in the room, that kind of thing. And obviously you might not know that person, so you didn't know where they were sitting, but at least it gave you some indication of where to go for help. So people took just over 2 minutes, probably 2 minutes and 20 seconds, somewhere in that range. But everyone was able to find the person who the balloon belonged to. So it was easy for us to reunite the balloon with the person with the original balloon. It was just easy for us to do that. And I'll never forget what the speaker said after this, because this was one of those speakers who broke my heart and impacted my life. She said, when people were trying to search for the balloon, It was like them trying to search for their own inner happiness in life. People are willing to push anybody else aside to try to get what they want and believe what they'll bring them happiness. When the truth is, the happiness actually lies in our ability and willingness to help other people and work together as a community to solve a problem. Wow. I guess I never sat down and thought at that point. I mean, I may have in passing, but not thoughtfully, that in order to get happiness, you have to help other people find theirs. There's another quote. There's a quote from the Dalai Lama. Of all people, the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama says, if you want to be happy, practice compassion. And I know I always tell people the best way for you to find out who you really are is to lose yourself in the service of others. Because when you feel like you have a sense of purpose, it's going to help you find happiness in yourself, because you're going to be happier and happier the more that you serve, the more that you reach out. So it's just very interesting. And I remember when I went to third world countries like Haiti and other places, the Dominican Republic, that I got to witness firsthand that people who had very little financially and very little physically were often the most happy people that I ran into. So I thought I'd do a little investigation for you. And I'm going to give you a list. Now, these are the top 3 reasons why helping someone else can bring you greater happiness. So let's go through this list. Number one is diversion. So when you worry less about what you need, in this case it was finding your own balloon or the stress of the hunt, right? All that goes away when you start to worry about other people's needs. So taking your focus away from the fact that you were in a jam or that you couldn't find your own balloon or that things didn't happen, that would help you replace that feeling with compassion for someone else and help them find what they need. And it's interesting because when you do that, it's going to make you a happier person. The second one is perspective. So having concern for other people helps remind us that we all face similar problems in life. No matter what the severity of the issue is, no matter what color the balloon was, no matter what color the person is, no matter who they love, who they worship, what they do, that sometimes we get so wound up around the axle and so focused on our own issues that we continue to suffer and other people continue to suffer as well. But we don't look at the gauge. Some people call us first world problems, right? It's easy to realize excess amount of attention it's being given on our own problems. But when you have compassion on others, it helps you put your problems into perspective with their problems. And, it's so interesting. I discussed this in another episode previously where I had a gentleman, and I wish I would have taken a picture and posted it. He was a homeless veteran seeking work. And he says, I have my resume, that kind of thing. And this was really recent. And he was standing right underneath a Taco Bell sign on the road. And on the Taco Bell sign, in the letters underneath, it said, now hiring $1,600 sign-on bonus. I thought it was hysterical because he's sitting here asking for a handout when the solution was right above his head, which was very interesting. It's one of those Far Side irony type comics, right? But I think that we still need to have compassion on individuals and recognize that just because our life's bad, their life could be worse. And the last one that I love so dearly on my list is connection. When you connect with others to help them, it's going to bring you happiness in your life. The truth is, humans are social people. We're social creatures. We love to extend ourselves. We love to talk to other people. And it's important that we have positive connections with other people in order to be happy ourselves. So connecting with other people helps enrich our lives and gives us a greater sense of fulfillment of what we can do to uplift and bring joy to the life of others. The truth is, our happiness really does truly depend on how we treat other people. So I think it's just so critical for us to maybe do some homework, assess how we are, assess what we're doing, and see what we can do to bring joy to someone else, whether it's just a smile for someone or whatever we need to do. Happiness is the key to success in our own lives. Happiness is going to reduce our stress. Happiness is going to bring us great joy, and happiness is going to uplift others. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this Friday episode. Lots and lots of amazing things are happening. I want you to tune in to agiledad.com next week. We got a lot of good, really good, I should say, questions and comments and things that we're going to talk about. And if you have a topic for an episode for the Daily Stand-Up, don't be afraid to reach out to us. Learn more at agiledad.com. We'd love to hear what you want to talk about. As always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Do take care and have an amazing weekend. Bye now.